Hey guys, John here. This is a little installment of my video blog, and I wanted to talk today about, for any of you who subscribe to my Twitter or my Facebook or whatever, you saw me complaining loudly that the Golden Globes, the most useless awards and most irrelevant group, the Hollywood Foreign Press, giving Avatar Best Picture of the Year. Now, when I wrote that, one of the things I said was, look, I said if the Oscars do this, if the Oscars give Best Picture to Avatar, I vow, I'm going to tell you right now, I'll never watch the Oscars again. I will personally completely avoid the Oscars. Now, some people ask me, and you know what, I understand why they ask me this. They said, well, John, you say that film is subjective. Why can't you just accept that some people, be it the Hollywood Foreign Press, just had the opinion that Avatar was the Best Picture of the Year? Why can't you just accept that? And I do accept opinion, because all film is subjective. That's the most beautiful thing about film. But my big problem, besides the fact that I personally don't think Avatar should even be in the top 5 for Best Picture of the Year. Now remember, I loved Avatar. If you saw my review for Avatar, you know I had a really good time with it. As a matter of fact, I went to go see it twice in the theaters. And I only ever go to see 3 or 4 movies a year, twice or more in the theaters. I had a lot of fun with it. But let's call a spade, okay? Let's just be honest. Aside from the fact that the movie is a complete Pocahontas / Dances with Wolves ripoff, if you take away the stunning visuals and the great action, if you take those things away, what you are left with is at best a mediocre movie with not exceptional acting, except for maybe perhaps Stephen Lang, the guy who plays the bad guy in the film, bad dialogue, a ripped-off story, no dramatic tension. I mean, there's nothing exceptional about Avatar. Take away this incredible technology and the spectacle that it was, which, when you're talking about your enjoyment of a film, you don't take those things away. But we're talking about Best Picture of the Year here. Take away the technical achievement and the action, you are left with a mediocre at best film. But let's say for a moment that the people at the Golden Globes just, in their opinion, they thought it was amazing and wonderful. I can accept that. I mean, I think they're crazy, but all film is subjective. So I would completely accept that. Except, here's the one big thing. Okay? There are many aspects that go into making a film. Many aspects. But beyond any shadow of a doubt, the single most important thing is script. And the reason script and screenplay are the most important thing is because within the script and the screenplay, you have your story, your plot, your subplots, your dramatic tension, you have your characters, and you have your dialogue. Movies are about telling stories, okay? And within the screenplay are your story, your plot, your subplots, your characters, your dialogue. All of that stuff is in the script, okay? So, now there are other things that go into making film. I don't think that a movie that wins Best Script necessarily has to win Best Motion Picture, because you can have one script that's a little bit better than another one, but the one that wasn't quite as good does everything else well. Cinematography, direction, acting, and that can win Best Picture. I'm all okay with that. But if movies are about storytelling, and the story, characters, dialogue, plot, subplots, all that comes from the script, all right? The Golden Globes didn't even think Avatar's script, story, characters, dialogue, plot, subplots, they didn't even think Avatar's script was good enough to even nominate. Forget that they didn't award Best Screenplay to Avatar. They said Avatar's story, plot, subplots, characters, dialogue wasn't even good enough to nominate. And yet, this exact same motion picture that the Golden Globes say, the story, plot, subplots, characters, dialogue, none of it is good enough to even nominate for Best Screenplay. They said, these exact same people said, it's the Best Picture of the Year. I can handle differences of opinion. Film's subjective. That's the most beautiful thing about it. And if the Golden Globe said, hey, Avatar's screenplay deserved a nomination, and they gave it a nomination, and then said Avatar as an overall movie was good enough to win Best Picture of the Year, I would think they're crazy, but I would accept it because, hey, it's all subjective. But when the Golden Globes just openly acknowledge themselves that the plot, story, subplots, characters, dialogue, all of it, none of it was strong enough to even get nominated for Best Screenplay. And yet then give that same movie Best Picture. What they're essentially is saying is that film is no longer about story. They're saying film is about the new technical achievement. George Lucas has to be thrilled. Because, I mean, hey, he could win another Oscar now. Because somehow, according to the Hollywood Foreign Press, the most useless body in Hollywood, no longer is film about story. No longer is it about characters. No longer is it about dialogue or the plots or the subplots, dramatic tension. Movies aren't about that anymore, according to the Hollywood Foreign Press. It's about the big visual effects technical achievement. And listen, I loved Avatar. Like I said, go back and watch my review. I completely loved Avatar. But I loved the Transformers, the original one too. And there's no way in hell that should have been nominated for Best Picture. So I'm sorry. When the Golden Globes don't say that Avatar isn't even good enough in terms of story and characters, plot, subplot, dialogue, it's not even good enough to nominate for Best Screenplay, and yet then they go ahead and give it Best Picture, that's bullshit. That is complete bullshit. And it just goes to show once again why the Oscars, that has a voting body of over 6,000 people vote on the Oscars, all of whom are involved in the film industry, actors, directors, cinematographers, animators, everything. The Hollywood Foreign Press is voted on by 70 or 80 people who are just foreign film journalists. Come on. I mean, give me a break. And that's why I was so upset, even though I shouldn't bother being upset, that they gave Avatar Best Picture. Not because I have a different opinion, but because they acknowledged the story, characters, plot, all that stuff wasn't even good enough to nominate. They acknowledged that themselves, and yet went ahead and gave it Best Picture anyway. I think that's scary. I think that's really scary. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Coming from somebody who loved Avatar, that's just my opinion. Anyway, thanks for visiting my blog and watching my video entry. I'm John Campea.